gentlemen, our chief guest for the evening, Padma Bhushan, Shri B.N. Goswami sir is here with us. I will request all of you to kindly welcome him with a very warm applause. We wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. A very good evening, dear artists, art lovers, and art enthusiasts. I welcome each one of you on behalf of Chandigarh Lalit Kala Academy and Indian Creative Minds Delhi to share with you yet another journey into art, artists, and beyond. Today, we have for you a very thought-provoking audio-visual presentation titled Different Perspectives by artist Jagannath Panda. As we prepare to walk into an artist's world, I feel somewhere in the world, a window opens, a door opens to allow in more light and sunshine. And well, today is no different. We're going to feel the light, the warmth, and the simplicity of artist Jagannath Panda. Amplifying the waves of our creativity here, we have with us Padma Bhushan Shri B.N. Goswami sir, a renowned Indian critic and art historian, a celebrated public speaker, but most of all, a wonderful human being. We warmly welcome you, sir. We also have with us Professor Prem Singh, Madam Prem Singh, Professor Prem Singh, a veteran in the world of art. We have with us artist Vinay Vadera, architect Kapil Sethia, Mr. Divan Mana, and Mr. D.S. Kapoor, and other distinguished artists from the Tri-City. We welcome each one of you. Before we proceed with the presentation, let's take a moment and florally welcome those charming souls who've made this evening even more charming with their presence. So I request Mr. B. Malhotra to florally welcome our chief guest, B.N. Goswami sir. You all can join us in welcoming him with a round of applause, dear audience. Thank you, sir. I will now request Goswami sir to kindly give a floral welcome to our artist Jagannath Panda. And now to tell you more about this event, I will invite Mr. B. Malhotra, Chairperson, Chandigarh Lalit Kala Academy, to speak on the occasion. Sir.
So, good evening. Respected Professor B.N. Goswami ji and our special guest artist Shri Jagannath Panda ji, Divan Manna ji, and our partner Manoj Tripathi ji, Creative Minds, and our respected Sir Prem Singh sir, Alka Jain, and Kapil Sethia ji, और भी काफ़ी नाम हैं. So, students of College of Architecture and students of College of Art, faculty College of Art and city artists, I welcome all of you. जो आज का जो presentation है, जो मुझे लग रहा है जैसे students काफ़ी बैठे हैं आज और सबके लिए जी very interactive और very interesting और बड़ा आपको you will celebrate this presentation. And Jagannath Panda ji, we are honored with this presentation and your presence in Chandigarh. And मेरे को 2 दिन हो गए जगन्नाथ पांडा जी के साथ, क्योंकि हमारे डबल पर्पज़ के लिए आए थे यहाँ पे. एक हमारी स्कॉलरशिप है विजिट टू म्यूजियम एंड आर्ट गैलरीज ऑफ लंदन, तो उसकी जूरी भी इन्होंने कल की है, तो उसका भी हम आपको रिजल्ट बताएंगे 2-4 दिन में. तो वेरी एक्साइटिंग कंपटीशन एंड रिजल्ट्स. और मैंने देखा जगन्नाथ पांडा जी का, ही इज़ फुल ऑफ आइडियाज़, फुल ऑफ एनर्जी. और उन्होंने बातों बातों में जो हम इनको अंडरपास लेके गए, ही हैज़ गिवन सो मैनी इंटरेस्टिंग आइडियाज़. कल बच्चों के साथ जो इंटरेक्शन हुआ वो भी बड़ा अच्छा था. और जो मैंने फील किया कि इनमें जो एनर्जी आज जो प्रेजेंटेशन हो रही है वो भी बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग रहेगी. सो वी ऑल आर लक्की कि आज जगन्नाथ पांडा जी सेकंड टाइम हमारे शहर में है, चंडीगढ़ ललित कला अकेडमी में. फर्स्ट टाइम दीवान जी ने शायद बुलाया था, आई थिंक 10 years बैक सर. दूसरा एक और खुशखबरी जो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके लिए जगन्नाथ पांडा जी का एक गिफ्ट कह लो जो कह लो, मतलब कि इन्होंने कल मुझे बोला है कि आप हमें आर्ट कॉलेज से, आर्किटेक्चर कॉलेज से कुछ हमें स्टूडेंट्स बताओ जो इनके स्टूडियो में जाके इंटर्न कर सकें या कुछ रेजिडेंसी कर सकें, तो कुछ अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स का हमें नाम बताओ. तो यू कैन, तो दिस इज़ वेरी गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी. तो यू कैन कंटेक्ट विद ललित कला अकेडमी, पंजाब ललित कला अकेडमी, किसी से भी मतलब कि who want to join Panda sir in their Delhi studio. So this is good, and thank you very much sir for giving this opportunity to the young artist. And और ज़्यादा ना बोलते हुए, I thanks my CLK members and Chandigarh Lalit Kala staff and all of you all came. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I will now request Sri Manoj Tripathi, he's the editor, Indian Creative Minds, Delhi, to kindly address the audience on the occasion. Sir.
This is a beautiful opportunity to express our gratitude to Mr. Bhimji, because without him this collaboration would not have materialized. There are so many people have come close so that they can express something from their own heart, mind, whatever it is. So we are basically, we belong to the publication sector, but publication with art. We do art publication. We bring out a magazine which is almost 18 to 19 years old, and we are steadily doing things, and we are not very much visible at all the places, but we do our job. So this publication brought out few days back, a year back, a book named as Indian Artist and Lockdown Period. So that was a coverage on 200 artists. Out of those 200 artists, we selected 50 artists from Chandigarh and Delhi and have put up a show where Mr. Jagannath Panda also participated. He is very kind. He sent his works. Otherwise, it is very difficult to catch him. So he sent his work and he participated in this, and from there everything has culminated. I am very grateful to Chandigarh Lalit Kala Academy for this kind of dynamic thought, different out of the box thinking. And I am sure in future also Chandigarh will do something more, something great, something outstanding, which will be remembered. Because when we talk about art, we only talk about the artist and the art fraternity. There is a whole world that is linked with art. We do not know. If I am an artist, I do not know what is happening around. If I am an outsider, I am suppose I am doing something for some artist. I am a manufacturer of color. I am a manufacturer of so many other things, paper. I am linked with the art world. So it is a bigger world, and we have to come close. How will come close? If our expressions, our exchanges are visible and we understand each other, then we'll come close. Many things will block us, and many things will open. So with that expectation that many things will open, we are looking forward to Chandigarh Lalit Kala Academy. Thank you so very much.
जस्ट टू ऐड, त्रिपाठी जी, ये हमारे जो इवेंट दो हुए हैं, एग्जीबिशन एंड दिस थिंग, ये पूरा 7 पेज का कवरेज निकाल रहे हैं अपनी मैगजीन में. ये 10 पेज का कवरेज, जो इनका मेरे ख्याल 1.5-2 लाख का पड़ता है अगर कोई एडवर्टाइजमेंट करो तो. इन्होंने बैक पेज भी फुल हमें दिया था. अच्छा, 10 पेज है. दैट्स ग्रेट.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the most creative part of today's event. Brace yourself to completely get immersed in this ocean of creativity that shall unfurl before you very shortly. But before that, let me take a moment and introduce you to our artist, Jagannath Panda, who although warrants no introduction. Hailing from the capital city of Odisha, Bhubaneswar, artist Jagannath Panda completed his BFA from the BK College of Arts and Craft, Bhubaneswar in 1991 and an MFA from the Faculty of Fine Arts, MS University, Baroda in 1994. He's also completed an MFA in Sculpture from the Royal College of Arts, London in 2002. As an artist, Mr. Panda found himself caught between the extremes of tradition and civilization, and his works reflect a juxtaposition of contradictory elements, elements of technology and mythology, ancient and modern, classic and popular, in order to discover a middle path, or as Aristotle says, the golden mean between two extremes. He conveys the reality of the existence of the layers in society without being judgmental, just as an onlooker or a narrator. After completing his masters from Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda, he was a research fellow at Fukuoka University of Education, Japan in 1997, and then studied fine sculpture from the Royal College of Art, London in 2002. Through Utsa, Panda and other volunteers, other art lovers and senior artists came together to explore the creative energy of artist and the common man. Among recent engagements in Odisha, Panda even curated massive public art events during the hugely successful Bhubaneswar Art Trail 2018, when the entire historic Old Town area turned into a confluence of ancient and modern art. Dear audience, please join me in welcoming Sir with a warm applause. And I will now request him to kindly take over the podium and mesmerize us with both his works and words. Sir.
Thank you. That was lovely introduction. Good evening, everyone. Respected B.N. Goswami sir, and Bhimji, Divanji, and Manojji, and all the students. I'm really honored to be here. This is my second presentation. I still remember Divanji called. We did a small film, and whole memory was so fresh. This is the occasion. After the COVID, I never got a chance to talk about any public event. This is the first time I'm going to show some of my recent work. But as an artist, I have a long journey from Bhubaneswar to Baroda and Delhi and Japan. As a self, I blessed with so many ideas, so many support from different people. My works are saved out of that journey. That's why what I was thinking to put like a last perspective of my artwork I'm going to show. And also I have a small initiative 10 years before I have started called Utsa Foundation. Some of that glimpse I'm going to see if the time allows. And then maybe I'm going to show a couple of my slides about the Bhubaneswar Art Trail. That is my life's best art initiative I ever did with the public. Thank you so much everyone for coming. And my association with Chandigarh is very special because it was 89 when I was a student at BK College of Art and Craft. So when I was a student at the BK College of Art and Craft, it was I think 89-90. The first sculpture been acquired by Professor B.N. Goswami, and for the Chandigarh Art Museum. So I was really thrilled. It pushed my moral support to the direction I'm heading to, and I've been talking to everyone about this story. Finally, I never met him. I was heard about him from my teacher Jagannath Panda, and finally I got a chance to meet him around 95 or 96 in Delhi. Actually, my early education I finished in BK College and moved to MS University Baroda, and come back to Delhi in the 95-96. My struggle as an artist, young artist, started. I think many of you student also similarly you're facing, but now Delhi has a much more opportunity. But as a sculpture student, when I moved to Delhi, I never had any studio facility. In fact, I applied for course. Ghadi scholarship. I didn't get that. So what happened? The Ghadi scholarship I got it for art documentation, that was one scholarship during Dinanath party you created. So I got more opportunity to visit Lalit Kala uh, large library. I started to reading about a lot of their collection, understanding and looking at a lot of artist work. So then I started to move into making a lot of my drawings. Drawing became an important tool because of there was no studio space. So when I got a chance, I used to draw. So in my joining, I think drawing created the helped me at a later stage. Uh, and then I moved to Japan as a visiting research fellow in I think 2000 sorry 1997 96 97. And after returning from Japan, I my art perception has changed. The kind of work I used to do, I started to believing the language uh, that's very important, need to be research and work further. I will come back to this three thing. So I wanted to show you some of my yearly work which really shaped my artistic career. The collage became a very important aspect, finding different material from magazines or anywhere like wrappers or gift paper, and the watercolor drawing. I started to making series of artwork. Mm, and soon after returning from Japan in 1998, there was a big cyclone happened in Orissa. I was really deeply impacted emotionally. And then in response to that, I did a series of artwork, and a few of that is very important. I was showing to you, Raw and Cook, and this is mm, and this is another work which is called the Independence Day. I was reading about Dinanath Party was talking about Orissa's heritage, even Osakoti paintings and all that. He did a lot of research, but I was looking at reading about it. So I was just got some of these images. I did a collage and drawing. This work after coming back to uh, from Japan, I was just responding to this whole cyclone thing. I created a lot of this kind of work in as a later format, watercolors, collage, and this is about my mother. What should I bring to for you? This is another work. During Japan, Onkawara became a very, as a conceptual artist, 60s artist. It's deeply inspired me, his understanding of time and artwork, very minimal conceptual artist. So I was bringing these ideas of Onkawara's postcards, and then I just made a kind of collage, Gandhi's doing a plantation, and I was imagining this postcard goes to many people to replant because the cyclone, so much trees are devastated. This whole Orissa, everybody was suffered. So this in response to that. This is the one artwork called the God. Basically, this work was I used to. This is made out of a box, a wooden box, and a mirror. I used to use as like a daily object, looking at my face. And later I was looking at my face. I thought I wanted to make this as an art object. I added this feather around and I just collaged a little paper cutting. It's called God. So then later I exhibited this. So it's a important work because my understanding of the materiality and its appearance and its usability, everything as a turn as a set my understanding towards my practice. This work is just finishing my master from Royal College of Art back to Delhi, and I created this work. One I did it there in Royal College of Art, but I was not happy because that was very small, like 3 feet, but I was expecting like to make it like a 5 to 6 feet, very humanly size. This is made out of fiberglass and dictionary text and dictionary illustration. I was reading about the dictionary, how the words and meaning change when we read it and reread it and reinterpret it. So this is like a sphere of text. So it's a part of Anupam Poda's collection, is one of the leading collectors of India. After coming back from London, I was re-looking at the landscape of Delhi. Delhi landscape, I never seen this landscape. I just try to reinterpret this landscape. I created a series of work. This is a Yamuna bridge watching to this Yamuna river, and there's some festival happen. There's just so much contrast between celebration and there was so much chaos. I was thinking this dichotomy between nature and culture and different incident, that became a important part of my practice. Earlier I started with a very much way of painting them in a realistic way, but later that idea has been changed into different. We now live in a kind of epic within the folding of layer of past and present culture in India. Each of these stories are intermingling, all consuming, overwhelming our lives. My works are witness to as well as part of this process, sharing the same root, the connect the changes to the culture everywhere. So basically this is whole ideas of my whole journey of my practice depend on this ideas. I am like a as a traveler in a quest, inquiry about the material, inquiry about the people, interact with the people I always enjoy, and that's later turned into my artwork. I moved to Gurgaon in 2005 and 6, and Gurgaon became a very changing landscape of Gurgaon became a very important element of my thinking, because I became like an actor of this place, and also witness to the place where the country rapidly changing. And there's create a lot of question on me that the kind of the rapid changes are happening, there's so much contrast, and those questions as I asked through my artwork. This is just next to my studio. There's some excavation happening for new houses. I was also looking at it how ideas of nature is so wild, it's a Shiva Tattva, it's everywhere. But cities always try to acquire landscape to their private space. We want a private garden, we want a private swimming pool, we want everything. And then they encroach all this Aravali. Because my studio is just next to Aravali, I keep meeting with a lot of people. There maybe some of them used to have a lot of their land. They sold it to the builder and they moved to some unknown place. But the ladies, they come and do the grass cutter. They're cutting the grass and taking the. They are earlier owner of those those land, but you can listen a lot of story from them. So this is one aspect. One must live to build one's house, and not build one's house to live in. I really touched this Gustav Basela poetic space, this quote, and many of my ideas around it. My top of my studio, I was looking at it how rapidly urbanizations are happening in Gurgaon, and this changing landscape, almost like the cities are marching towards the forest. Sometimes I go at the top of Aravali and look at the city. They are like almost like a soldiers. They're coming towards, marching towards the mountain. In reference to this space, I made a series of drawings and the collage, which is between visible, non-visible, watercolors. It's very sensitive way of, almost these lands are already filled up. So the gauge of metropolis always became a very important, because the way we are looking at the metropolis continuously gauging around you. Through my process, one material called fabric and acrylic paint became a very important role. My earlier education in Orissa, working with craftspeople, working with potter painter, and Dokra caster, always have a sensibility of understanding how these artisans are working. Coming back from London, my whole relook at something what I learn, I unlearn it. Go back to my practice. I look at them, but in this process, the fabric became a important role. Wherever I used to go, any part of India, I used to collect the fabric. So I believe this fabric has important, symbolism of our culture, and the way maybe you look at like an India map of different state or something in its body. So I blend the fabric, with acrylic such a way. Sometimes they looks like a painting. It's called Democracy in Neighborhood. It's a very interesting story. When I was in Sun City, I was meeting with a lot of people with different ideas of their life. They are all economical migrant. Their aspiration is to make more and more money. One day I saw that there's a two group having debate. One group wanted to feed the dog, and other group don't want to because they said the dogs are nuisance. I'm listening this conversation and coming back to studio. I was thinking about it, and in between there's a imagery. What you see, the Narayan, is part of a palm leaf painting, and the edges are like a brocade fabric. When the light falls, you can see this image a little animated. So I was juxtaposing this different ideas together and understanding this new reality. The city, the houses are so close, but the people mind and their understanding is so distant. You can see there's a sense of space within the imageries. Again, the fabric and acrylic color. This hybrid trees are almost looking at it as a, during this Commonwealth game 2008 to 2010, there's so many development happen around. They cut the trees. So in response to that, I made a series of work. This is one of that. This is a sculpture called The Ancestor. Before moving to Gurgaon, I was living in Ayanagar village between Delhi and Gurgaon. So I was interacting with more closely with peacock because there was so many peacock around. Then they became a part of my work. Some aspect of my work was a question about ethics of our life, or good or bad. But my position always remain as looking at as a silent spectator or witness to this time. It's a plywood, and it's a Jain painting, reference from that. And you see this backyard, there's a small night market, and small incidents are happening in the night. Maybe you can discuss further more on this. Maybe this skyscraper, again reference to palm leaf painting and a brocade. This is called Lob Terrace. Again, this work in 2017, it's called Dark River. Again, reference to Yamuna. Everybody we are talking about the Yamuna, how it is associated with transparent and clean and love story of Krishna and Radha. And now I'm looking at Gurgaon, lot of development, lot of sewage line. I was just wondering where this all water goes and where it is merged. So this work emerged out of it. This is all this sewage pipe and cut out of like plywood and or the materials, wood and all. This is also like a one work in 2016. This is kind of a spiral. So through that journey, looking at the city, I was more contemplating with the geometries and how this geometry, not in terms of conceptual but intuitive geometry of the place. I created many artwork, and then this is one of the selected painting, which is called Topology of Uncanny Brotherhood. They are all like a blueprint of our houses, or you can see from the top view or the side view, or they are all emerging. There's a lot of drawing in between. There's a lot of symbols I use when you go out. The city has used a lot of symbol how to navigate yourself. And there are a lot of miniature drawings are taken from potter painting, and many are like from realistic, spontaneous drawing on the surface. If you see the line, what I did here, I just cut out from the calendar, and with the Ramayana story, I just placed it in the blueprint of house. Again, these are some structures, but those lines are again I got it from love story of Radha and Krishna, and then I put it as like a structure, and then done a watercolor around it. So here, what happened? I was just fascinated with bringing lot different time and experience and put them together and understanding in one particular moment of time. But as you see, the India is not like a one India. There's several India that lives. Sometimes they are so contrast, but they live side by side. They coexist. So my works also emerge something like that. They are all fabrics and collage. Again, this is a exploding mandala with fabric and watercolor, acrylic and all. It's epic again. It's about the Ravana's story on Ramayana and the skyscraper. Basically, here what happened, I was started to making a painting which wherever I got a perspective. All perspectives are imaginary and they are very contrast to each other, but also I try to put them such a way they looks like they have so much balance to themselves. This is called feral spear with covered with layers of fabric. Again, the spear I draw a lot of world map, and then slowly this world map of the borders turning, all the borders are became like a insect or some kind of creatures. Slowly they move, they're deshaping and entering into each other territory. Again, the sculpture of gold and survival. It's made out of storage pipe and fabric, plastic flowers. This is one of the large work I exhibited at the San Francisco Museum of Asian Art, part of a Phantom of Asia exhibition. Basically, the story of a self-eating snake. Many culture we see them, and they may be represented as a dark and light or life and death. This is 2014 work. I just became a more minimal and looking at more with the geometry as a different perspective. So this is so was 2017, one of my solo show called the Crystal City. I was making a very abstract form, which is a reference to ideas of crystal or iron ores or a landscape that that emerge out of the earth. These structures are made out of fabric, but this fabric is like a metallic fabric. So when you look at the image in a real sense, it's a very animated. When the light falls, if you pass by, it's different dimension to it. It looks like some kind of futuristic architecture or some kind of dream that city is providing, and continuously telling us the city as a comfort place, and everybody like aspire to be part of a city, and how the reality is different. Again, in the same series, this is a sculpture of the custodian of Untold. That it's a sculpture made of fiberglass and fabric, and on the pedestal there's a large landscape of city. You can see this. These are all made out of wood, toys, discarded toy, paper mache, cement. Many of those toys are, from my son's wardrobe. So I started making a lot of these boxes. You can call the memory box, or a box of your personal, talking about something, your personal stories. And I added a lot of my photographs from my archives, and then here is the plywood, wallpaper, drawings, collage, and photographs all comes together, and there's somewhere here as a plastic toys. Sometimes they looks like they're large architectures, but once you closer, then you can start looking at a very personal space of itself. So few of this, on the Age of Silence, it's maybe during COVID I was looking at how the city looks like, imagining, living in a studio. This is, I think, 9 feet by 6 feet painting, the triptych. A lot of drawing, collage. It's some kind of entity where, demanding his presence in this place. It's a small house with people. They are all watercolors, collage, wooden wallpaper, and pencil or pen. Everything is there, This wooden veneer, watercolors. Again, this kind of surreal structures. This is called Immortal, the tree that is been around. This is painting with this fabric and a landscape around. Is maybe looking at this globe from the city or somewhere from outer space. This is a very recent work. It's called the Earth Whisper. These are all cut out of wood, plywood, and covered with the fabric and paint, and the mirror in concave mirror. So I did this ideas of couple of painting. Balancing act is the ideas of understanding time or season or between inside or outside, between walking space or a space where you relax. This is one work I did it in 2017. Again, a lot of silk fabric and paint. This is almost like a painting of someone's biographic. One of my friend, he used to, their family tradition is making like rugs. They've been talking about the story from their grandfather and all. I created this work for them. This is a large painting. I think 2-3 years ago I have 2019, I think 19 I created this work. It's called The Eyes of Forest. Basically, again, my reference to Arabali Biodiversity Park, coming back to the studio, whatever the imageries I found. There's a lot of drawing and collage. This work is very complex work because I think I never worked such a long for any painting, because this painting was demanding so much of my time. Those eyes are like maybe human or animal or bird's eyes. Continuously they're watching, maybe maybe everyone has to tell their own stories. This is the work I created 3 years ago. This is work in 2015. This is called the being. It's like showing his presence. It's made out of fiberglass. It's very life-size rhinoceros, exactly size of rhino. I created this. Again covered with fabric. I was hearing about this mammal, his very oldest mammal living in us with us, but it's not living within our memory. That's why I thought I would create it as a someone who we can feel to touch. So there's so much tactile feeling. People wanted to touch and understand what it is, the language of. But again, his presence is almost showing his challenge that this culture of economy and all that, and his presence is life force presence is more bigger than that. This is again another doorway to the city, 2011-12. So this is also very recent work. It's upside down city. It's called Where the City Meets the Sea. Underneath there's looks like a kind of war zone, discarded. This place was abandoned, and the new city is like heading towards it, or maybe a reference to this film like Avatar or any sci-fi movie where we wanted to settle down, where going to be our new house. This is drawing that with the collage, with the Gandhi spinning. So I have done a little social experiment project called a drawing wall project. I invited common people to draw along with me. And this is like my public engagement, community engagement project. It was part of Burbil Art Project. I asked, whoever I found to draw along with me, because there was a sense of feeling that nobody can, general people, they cannot draw. So I asked their own story, their own aspiration, and draw whichever way they wanted to draw in this space. It's begin like this. We put a text and then ask everyone to draw, and later we remove that stencil of text. So it was really surprising for everyone, and everyone like documenting their own stories. or the same project I did it in Gujarat, Kutch. I visited a school and I asked the same question about their presence and their aspirations, and asked them to draw in a small format drawing book. And then once that drawing is over, I asked them to bring those all that drawing and collage them together and create a larger a drawing of collage of all that drawing. After that, I moved to the big wall of their school, and graphically I enlarged those drawing into a bigger wall. It was very interesting participatory experience for participant, and they all enjoyed. It was actually a lot of slides I have been put together. So this is very recent work. It's called Geometry in Transit. Basically, you've seen that 2017 I did a series of work about the box or some kind of a personal space, and when we encounter this personal space became a cosmic. So here I was referring to Vishwarupa and this conversation which is totality of our self. So one way I created this small little box and draw and collage and paper mache, all them come together. Lot of the drawings are coming from my my diary. Maybe some of them maybe in 2000 lockdown period. I bring them together and put it to one place. But these lines are not very conceptual. They are very intuitive lines. Even to create this intuitive line, I took a lot of, basically when you refer to lines, it became a very logic, very engineering of understanding. But same time, I'm breaking that same logic through this artwork. Another aspect what I did, I found a small calendar of Vishwarupa. I enlarged it and deconstructed and placed it in everywhere. Like they're not part. In a way, understanding the truth or understanding of our world is very limited. It's not total itself. But most of imagery, if you see, they're very lot of landscape, landscape map, lot of reference from Encyclopedia of Earth or something, or gardening, or watercolors. It took lot of time to prepare this work, because anytime I approach to work sometime the way it start, it demands its own time. I cannot stop until, because there's a kind of a conversation between me and the object. I try to explore throughout my life, hand, mind, heart, and the material. If that conversation go well, then you can build as many story of your own. So this is my one a large artwork display in a public space in Mumbai. It's again it's cosmic, some kind of constellation, and there's a tree of life, and a lot of reference from the history, different time, or from books of miniature, or a reference from some incident, like Josephus did a plantation of like a oak tree in German castle. So it's a mix of everything. It is displayed here at the Mumbai. Now you see there's a one imagery you see in a long back when my beginning of my career I made a watercolor. This again come back to in this particular painting Gandhi making some plantation. It is I have never seen this imagery, but I just imagine and learn something with the trust work is very important painting. Recently I have created after reading this book about the tiger paws. It's about the story that the Sri Sri Ravi Shankar spent a time in Sri Lanka negotiating between LTT and Sri Lankan government. So one of the trust work chapter called the 700 meter. So it was very touching stories. So I was reading that story. I thought I will respond to it and painting. I never done so much, figurative drawing in any of my artworks. So the 700 meter is like a low man land. Sri Sri entered and tried to meet Prabhakaran and meet all these refugee who was a sufferer of the war. And literally those are like a landmine area. So I acquired this particular material. You see that Sri Sri is wearing. It's a original of Angabastra of his one. I try my best to get one of the. And this is another work. It's called Spirit of Sublime. It's a part of GVK Mumbai T2 airport. It is like a tree covered with fabric, but on the landscape you see the India map. When I just opened it, the India map, it became like a landscape. So I was just mentioning how Mumbai distance from Delhi or Chandigarh or Agra. What is the distance? So I've just tried to put a lot of mark with and then so much reference to time, because I have seen that every interesting thing happened in the forest, and here I have created this Uran Katola, which looks like maybe a Japanese sci-fi painting, but I created with a collage of plastic or discarded material or something, dumping yard, some imagery from there. I collage them and create this imagery. This is very recent work, Earth Whisper. This was displayed at Nita Mukesh Ambani Culture Center. Again, I was referring to, self and the collective self in an environment where how we are living. These are all basically, this work is displayed just in front of a large auditorium, because I was imagining, if 1,000 people are every day passing by, and there are upside down, concave mirrors are there. I was just conceptually thinking about that this work continuously collecting information and memories of people. And again, these are like a plywood cutout and painted, cement, paper mache, many diverse materials are around. So this is one, it is. Thank you.
Well, firstly, I'd like to thank Sir for such an insightful presentation. Well, I truly believe that artists breathe contradiction simply because they are a simple, free-spirited, courageous lot of people, but they have an insatiable, unquenchable thirst to know more, to create more, to interact and to connect more, and above all, to live more. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us, for sharing your journey with us. And now I will invite our chief guest, Professor B.N. Goswami, to share with us the delight he experienced during this presentation. Sir, can we have you on stage, please?
ऐसा है कि चाय तैयार है, तो मैं ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं लूँगा। दो एक चीज़ है, मैं आई केम हियर टू लर्न एंड टू सी एंड टू हेयर, एंड आई डिड ऑल दीज थ्री थिंग्स, तो गोइंग बैक रिचर। इट्स बीन ए वेरी रिच इवनिंग जिसमें इन्होंने जगन्नाथ ने प्रेजेंटेशन की, अपने आइडियाज़ शेयर किए। दो एक चीज़ें, आई वेरी मच लाइक द टाइटल ऑफ द प्रेजेंटेशन, डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव्स। अब मैं आर्ट हिस्टोरियन हूँ, पेंटिंग्स देखता हूँ, पुरानी नई। व्हेन यू सी ए मुगल पेंटिंग, तो उसमें वी डोंट इमीडिएटली रियलाइज कि इसमें 4 या 5 पर्सपेक्टिव्स हैं। अगर तालाब है तो ऊपर से देखा हुआ, बिल्कुल स्क्वायर ऐसे करके। अगर कोई लड़कियां बात कर रही हैं तो नीचे से ऊपर की तरफ देख रही हैं। अगर कोई वहाँ पे बैठा है बैल्कनी में तो वो अपनी पर्सपेक्टिव और तरीके से एक ही पेंटिंग के अंदर। तो ये जो डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव्स हैं, इन्होंने तो और किस्म की बात की है और बहुत अच्छी बात की है। बहुत ज़रूरी है, बहुत हमारे लिए, हमारी ज़िंदगी के लिए, न सिर्फ आर्ट को समझने के लिए, ज़िंदगी के लिए डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव्स आर मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट। मैं आई वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टेड जब इनकी प्रेजेंटेशन हो रही थी, what the range of his work is, extraordinary range, extraordinary range. It's not a question of कि ये पेंटिंग है, ये स्कल्पचर है, ये फोटोग्राफ है, ये कोलाज है। रेंज है, सोच की रेंज है। क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस जो है उसके बारे में एक बहुत मुश्किल लेकिन बहुत खूबसूरत शेर है मिर्ज़ा गालिब का। मैं उसको एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ, थोड़ा पहले बोलता हूँ उर्दू में, उसको ट्राई करता हूँ। आई एम नॉट श्योर दैट आई गेट इट ऑल। दाम हर मौज में है, दाम हर मौज में है, हल्काए सदकाम निहंग। देखिए कतरे पे क्या गुजरेगी गोहर होने तक। दाम हर मौज में है, कतरा पानी का कतरा है, और जब मोती बनता है तो उसको उसमें क्या करना पड़ता, कहाँ कहाँ से गुजरना पड़ता, किस किस डल से यहाँ बचा करके ये इस तरह कर करा के, तो कहते हैं कि देखें क्या गुजरेगी कतरे पे गोहर होने तक। क्योंकि जो पानी के अंदर है वो एक कतरा है, उसने कामयाब होना। और कहते हैं कि ये ऐसे लगता है जैसे आस पास अजगर हैं तरह तरह के, लंबे लंबे दांतों वाले, और हर एक मौज में, हर एक वर्लपूल के अंदर ऐसे लगता है कि कोई ट्रैप है किसी किस्म का। उस सब से बच करके निकलना, सोचते रहना कतरे के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। और तब गोहर बनता है, तब वो पर्ल बनता है, तब वो मोती की शक्ल में जाहिर होता है। इट्स ए वेरी इनविजिबल प्रोसेस और इंडिविजुअल है बिल्कुल से लेकर कहाँ से कहाँ आदमी दिमाग में ले जाता है ऐसा करके। अभी ये पर्सपेक्टिव देखिएगा, यानी कि यहाँ पे नीचे ये हो रहा, ऊपर एक बिल्कुल छत के ऊपर एक एनिमल है, पेंगुलिन है शायद, वो नीचे की तरफ देख रहा है इस तरह करके। अब being asked to look at the thing like a pangolin, हम ऊपर जा करके देखें, क्या करें? ये एक अजब दुनिया है। और मैं आई वुड लाइक टू कंग्रेचुलेट जगन्नाथ, एंड इट्स ए प्लेजर के इतने सालों के बाद हमारी मुलाकात दोबारा हुई। then I was instrumental in having him ever come here to Chandigarh पहले क्या 1989 में 34 साल हो गए। तो ये दूसरी चीज़ जो मैं I just want to share with you, इंसान अकेला है बेसिकली, अकेला तो है ही है, लेकिन जब शायर कहता है कि है आदमी बजाय खुद एक मशरे ख्याल, हम अंजुमन समझते हैं खलवती क्यों। एक आदमी जो है, इंसान जो है, उसके अंदर इतने ख्याल हैं, इतने ख्याल पैदा होते हैं, मशर बरपा है, जैसे डे ऑफ जजमेंट है, इसमें इतने हैं मशरे ख्याल। है आदमी बजाय खुद, बजाय मतलब जगह पे नहीं, अपनी जगह पे, अपनी जगह पे मशरे ख्याल, हम अंजुमन समझते हैं खलवती क्यों ना हो। अकेले होते हैं लेकिन लगता है कोई कंपनी आसपास है, अंजुमन समझते हैं उसको। ये क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस, इसको एनालाइज करना ऑलमोस्ट एन इम्पॉसिबिलिटी, ऑलमोस्ट एन इम्पॉसिबिलिटी इवन फॉर द आर्टिस्ट हिमसेल्फ। कहाँ से कहाँ निकल जाता है ऐसा करके। एंड इस लिहाज से मैं समझता हूँ कि व्हेन वी आर privileged to be there for a presentation like this, we should be grateful. As I am grateful to Beam and his team, and grateful to the Lalit Kala Academy of Chandigarh, and formerly the Lalit Kala Academy, now the Lalit Kala Academy of Punjab, and so on. कि मुझे इज्जत बख्शते हैं। Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And now, dear audience, let's take a moment and thank those people without whom this event would not have been possible. And for that, I will request Mr. Bhim Malhotra, Chairperson, Chandigarh Lalit Kala Academy, to accompany our chief guest, Professor B.N. Goswami, to honor our artist. I will request Goswami sir to kindly present a memento symbolic of our gratitude and love to artist Jagannath Panda. You all can join us in appreciating, in honoring him with your applause. And now I will request Bhim sir to kindly present a token of our gratitude to our chief guest for the evening, Professor B.N. Goswami. And finally, I'll request Bhim sir and Mr. Ravinder Sharma to kindly step forward and present a memento to Shri Manoj Tripathi. I'll request Manoj sir to kindly come forward to give us an opportunity to honor him. Thank you so much, sir. And now I'll request all the members of the Academy to come forward for a group photograph.